Welcome to the Agent Survival Guide podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Ruppel, and it is Friday, June 14th. Happy Friday to you. Kicking off our list at number 5 this week, a reminder that AHIP certification for the 2024 coverage year will no longer be available come Thursday, June 20th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. Certification will be unavailable from Friday, June 21st through Sunday, June 23rd, but everything will come back online Monday, June 24th for the 2025 coverage year certification. As of today, June 14th, we have got 10 days on the clock, so don't forget to mark that date down on your calendar. Also want to add in the reminder about potential sales tax coming to that online certification. A law was recently passed subjecting digital and online courses to taxation, and those rules vary by state. So we'll be linking to some resources in the notes where you can check out what to expect in your state. And while I'm on the subject of updates, another little bit of housekeeping. Don't forget that Tuesday, June 18th, is our online event all about how to market yourself online. You can still register to attend. We will have the link to do that in our notes. And there is a great lineup of speakers scheduled, almost all of which we have featured before here on the podcast. But they will be sharing their expertise. And they're not just marketing experts. They are insurance marketing experts. So we really did niche down on this to bring you information that is tailored to our industry. Again, that event is taking place next Tuesday, June 18th, and you'll find the link to register in the notes. Moving on to number 4 on our list. On Wednesday this week, we got a double dose of economy updates. The U.S. Department of Labor's Bureau of Statistics released the May 2024 Consumer Price Index report, and we finally got some good news. There was no change in the numbers from April 2024 to May 2024. Now, just because there was no change from the April to May numbers doesn't mean that there weren't some increases and decreases in different individual categories. Take, for instance, energy commodities like gasoline and fuel oil. Those saw the largest decrease in costs from April to May, down 3.5% overall. That helped to offset increases in medical care commodities of 1.3%, used cars and trucks at 0.6%, and both shelter and food away from home at 0.4%. When totaled together and looking back 12 months, we are looking at an inflation rate that is up 3.3% for May 2024. I would say that this is an encouraging report. It's not a drastic change, but it is progress. I think it'll be interesting to see what the personal consumption expenditures price index has to say about the month of May. That number was up 2.7% year over year in April, and the same for March 2024. And the Fed has said that the PCE is their preferred price index. Unfortunately, those numbers aren't due out until June 28th, so we have a little bit of time to wait before we get that report. After the CPI announcement in the morning, the Federal Open Market Committee wrapped up their latest policy-setting meeting in the afternoon. In addition to news on their fight against inflation and interest rates, we also got some economic projections, what the media likes to call the dot plot. At number 3 this week, we have the announcements from that meeting. Fed Chair Jerome Powell announced plans to hold rates steady at the 5.25% to 5.5% range that they have been holding at since July of last year. The committee chalked that decision up to modest progress in getting down to their 2% inflation goal. also announced a rate forecast for the remainder of the year with the aforementioned dot plot. In the 3 months since their last outlook, the committee confirmed that they see just one rate cut happening this year, as opposed to the 3 rate cuts they had been forecasting just a few months ago. So, in short, things are looking a smidge better, but the Fed is still cautious and we've got a little ways to go. The next rate-setting meeting of the Federal Open Market Committee is scheduled for July 30th and 31st. Number 2. Ruppel recommends. On Monday this week, Apple kicked off their 2024 Worldwide Developers Conference with a keynote address announcing all of the new features coming to their operating systems. And we went through all of them: visionOS, iOS, audio and home, watchOS, iPadOS, and macOS. I'm not going to go over all of those new features, but there are a couple that I would like to highlight. I can't say that I have anything interesting to report on the visionOS front, so we will start with iOS and some cool features coming to iPhone. First and foremost, and on many a wish list, bringing RCS, or Rich Communication Services, messaging to the iPhone. This means better quality photos and video, in addition to delivery and read receipts on messages from non-iMessage users. In addition to RCS messaging, iMessage in iOS 18 will include ways to style your text messages with bold, italics, underline, strike through, new text effects, and tapbacks, which is what Apple calls their text reactions. Another one from the wish list: more personalization for the home screen, a true dark mode, and the ability to easily customize app icons and layout. Icons can either be automatic, dark, light, or tinted with a specific color. Users can control the size of app icons and the ability to place those icons where you like inside the grid rather than the current setup that fills apps in left to right, top to bottom. Apple showed off the layout features quite a bit through the keynote, often showcasing how the customization lets users put the focus on their chosen wallpaper. Moving on to watchOS, which sadly the newest version will not be compatible with my Apple Watch. But I have had mine for at least a good 5 years now, so I can't say that I didn't know this day was coming. watchOS 11 adds a long-time user request: the ability for users to pause activity rings so you can take a break without affecting your streaks. Apple has also added the ability to adjust activity ring goals by day of the week, which is fantastic if your workouts look a little different on the weekends than they do on the weekdays. There's also a brand new app called Vitals that will track all of the health monitoring aspects of the Apple Watch in one place. You'll be able to tap into that app and view your heart rate, respiratory rate, skin temperature, sleep tracking data, and more. And then because all of that information is coming into one place, users will be able to view trends over time as well as anomalies. And then in the activity app on the watch, there's a new feature coming called Training Load. That's another analysis tool that looks at workout data and gives insights on effectiveness. Next up, iPadOS. And I have to say, I would never have anticipated being so excited about the addition of a calculator to the iPad. But that was until Apple paired it with their Notes app for something called Math Notes. This function allows users to, quote, evaluate expressions, assign variables, and even plot graphs with Apple Pencil just as you would on paper or with a keyboard. Calculator solves expressions in line as soon as you write or type an equal sign, end quote. Now, I have to say, I'm not quite sure that this has Sherlocked the graphing calculator, but I do think it will be helpful when I'm trying to help my daughter with her homework, especially as she progresses into the higher levels of math. I can also see myself using it for simple everyday math, to be honest. I do use notes a lot while I'm planning and budgeting. And then last but not least, the newest Mac operating system, Sequoia, will bring iPhone mirroring to Mac. I'm not sure how I feel about the potential to get phone notifications on my computer. To me, that seems a little bit distracting. But I do like the potential for dragging and dropping files, videos, and pictures between a Mac and my phone. But I would need to purchase a Mac, and that is probably not going to happen anytime soon. Now that we've covered all of the operating system highlights, it's time to move on to the other half of the keynote, which focused on Apple's take on AI, Apple Intelligence, coming in at number 1 on our list this week. Apple has chosen an interesting strategy for AI, giving it the tagline, quote, AI for the rest of us, end quote. They spent the latter half of Monday's keynote talking through all the new features that are coming to select Apple devices. The first interesting thing about this strategy is that it feels like Apple is late to the game here. But I think if you look at Apple in the context of being more about innovating and improving than inventing, this announcement feels right on time. Second interesting thing is Apple's choice to go the on-device AI route, more so than the here's an app that does all the AI things route. They've taken the power of AI, packaged it into the device so people can use AI features without having to go too far out of their way. And I think this strategy removes some of the friction that comes along with getting people to adopt something new. Apple has made it a little more convenient by baking it in. Third interesting thing goes hand in hand with the last, and it's about how AI is packaged. In their demos, Apple outlines a lot of use cases for their AI. They're giving specific examples of how to use and how users will benefit by using AI this way or that way. And then fourth, Apple established a partnership with OpenAI to allow for ChatGPT to be used on device and also allow subscription users to port their information over and unlock their premium features. So, like I said, some interesting strategies at play here that check a couple of different audience boxes. Users who are completely new to AI, people who have used it previously, and those who have adopted it and are using it on a daily basis. But enough about the philosophy. Let's talk about Apple Intelligence features. So first up, writing tools, which is on-device AI that helps users polish up their writing with a proofread and revision function, along with the ability to change the tone of an entire piece to be either friendly, professional, or concise. You can also use the tool to summarize longer passages as well as group threads, the latter of which I can just imagine the screenshots people are going to be sharing on social media. Also coming to iPhone and iPad, Genmoji and the Image Playground. Genmoji is the solution for all of those times when you wanted a super specific emoji and there just wasn't anything that would fit. This feature allows users to create emoji, like a cat eating popcorn, an alien cookie, or an iced coffee. Genmoji can also be used to create a customizable memoji from your photos. Users can also add a description to further customize the look of their creation. The Image Playground brings AI image generation on device, so users can create art from a few different suggested prompts. Another image-related tool, the image wand, can be used to turn a sketch into an actual photo. Same as the Genmoji, users can add to their description to refine the drawing. There's a new cleanup tool coming to Photos that uses Apple Intelligence to remove background objects. Kind of similar to the Magic Image Cutout tool, but in this case, the image is removed and then AI fills in the background where that item was. The Photos app has gotten a big upgrade that is very much in line with what Google just announced a few weeks ago, making an easier task of searching through photos so it doesn't take so long to get to the one that you want. That functionality will work on photos as well as videos. There's also a new memory movie function that takes clips pulled from your search query and, quote, crafts a storyline with unique chapters based on themes it identifies and arranges your photos into a movie with its own narrative arc, end quote. There is a video project I've been working on since my daughter was born, and this will be a very cool way to create that video and line up clips. So I'm super excited about that. And then, of course, Apple Intelligence means that Siri gets a glow up, a literal glow up, from her teal and purple bubble to a glowing screen outline in pink, orange, and fuchsia. There's also a brand new icon featuring a slightly skewed infinity symbol inside a circle, little more weight on the left side of the symbol than on the right. Other Siri updates include typing to ask questions from just about anywhere you can put a cursor, and then also the better ability to understand natural language flow given the context of what you've just told Siri or what you're currently doing on your device. Giving AI functionality to Siri lets users retain their privacy, as a lot of these searches happen, again, on device, rather than moving back and forth between the device and a third party. Now, according to their website, Apple is able to keep data private with something called private cloud compute. Their AI, quote, can draw on larger server-based models running on Apple Silicon to handle more complex requests for you while protecting your privacy, end quote. Additional claims include that user data is never stored. The feature is only used when the user requests something. And then there's a verifiable privacy promise also listed. And last but not least, the arrival date of all of these Apple Intelligence features, quote, coming in beta this fall, end quote. There is an asterisk at the end of that statement, and when you scroll down, a disclaimer reads, quote, Apple Intelligence will be available in beta on iPhone 15 Pro, iPhone 15 Pro Max, and iPad and Mac with M1 and later, with Siri and device language set to US English, as part of iOS 18, iPad OS 18, and Mac OS Sequoia this fall. Some features, additional languages, and platforms will be coming over the course of the next year, end quote. So we will definitely be keeping an eye on Apple Intelligence and when all of those features are set to launch. But that is all we've got for you this week. I hope you have a great weekend. Stay healthy and stay safe out there, and we will see you next week. The Agent Survival Guide podcast is a production of Ritter Insurance Marketing, an integrity company. This episode was written and produced by me, Sarah Ruppel, script editing and fact check by Tina Lamoureux, podcast design by Urban Rivera, artwork by Vivian Zhao. Follow along with us wherever you like to listen.